Had a big chance here. I started my stream mid-game again, which I said I wouldn't do. Figure it out. Then I'll take. You're not gonna take. Fine. Okay, so then I can retreat and yeah. Understood. You allow me to develop stuff, which is what I want to do. And get my king to safety. You can lose a chess battle. It's early. When you're confident in yourself, like soon to be American world champion Hans Niemann. You just know you're gonna win. I don't need to castle. I just own you. It's a bad move. Don't you just want to check that? They're right? Surely. Okay, so let's go here. Let's get real. Let's get real dirty about this. Could I possibly? Well, you have that move there, so I guess it's not a problem. And if you try to go there, okay. It's fine. Ah. No, it splits chest Aiden. It's not a move. Just gonna push on my pawn and see what happens. Why not? Because if I can get in there, we have chances to get weird. And when you're losing, the weirder you can make it, the better. You got to go there, man. It's not really close. I guess you can do whatever you want. It's a free country. Okay, so let's go here. Okay. Hope. There's hope. There's hope. Not a lot of hope, but there's some hope. You can come. Ooh. Where do you go? You can save this. No, you can't save this. I'm better at chess than you. I'll start my stream. I'll waste my time. I'll talk crap, and I'll still win. Which is why I've been posting on LinkedIn, trying to keep it professional. But you got to keep me away from the 1800s in speed chess, and in rapid that thread extends to the 1900s. You're gonna have that's not how you grow the game. This is how you get loyal customers to quit chess forever. Is you let me play the less competent. I will make examples. I won't just win. I will make examples. I have nothing against Brazil. In fact, I give a lot of Uber rides. Quite honestly, I think a lot of Americans are lazy. But I will not show mercy. I'm ready for the lawsuits. I'll get a good lawyer. I'll get a good lawyer because I don't have time to waste. I'm too busy dominating online chess. Let's break it down. Yeah. It's not good for anyone to let me play these people. Kind of like a respawn in a lot of video games. You need to, after I crush my rating with Insomnia Chess, which is so much better than a drug addiction, you got to put me right back at least 1900, probably more like 1950, all time controls. Don't let me do this to people. I don't like being this person. Okay, pretty sure this is irrelevant because over the board, especially in a chess like St. this would never happen. You're just giving me a pawn. I was toggling back and forth, so I let you save your pawn. Not that it matters. Then I gave you a piece. Yeah. You want me to go E6? Next, I have no pawn. I just like duh. And good by me immediately. Immediately is the key. It's not that complicated a lot of times what I see in bullet chess. The key is I see it often and I see it immediately. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about this. Okay. Yeah, but in blitz chess, does it really matter that much? 'Cause I'm going right there. Oh no, I'm not. Duh. So I have to hide. And then it is unpleasant. I'm not even paying attention and I'm smoking 1800s. My dog's at daycare for a few days. I'll be resting. It's gonna be a different level of play that enemies don't want to participate in. They're gonna think they do. Yeah. See, terrible, terrible. It's ugly. It's still just it's not even close to. I don't focus, give away everything. See, I'm calling this out. Like in my head, I'm flipping the board while I play, and I tell jokes, and I win. I said while the game was happening, your only move. Well, my thought process was right. You cannot let me have that pawn. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're panicking. Because though I'm not a fan of Magnus Carlsen, if the way he treated American super grandmaster and our only hope to compete with the deserving Indian prodigies, Hans Niemann, it's the Magnus effect. Enemies just know me in the online chess community. Yeah, why not save a bishop? Because I don't need to. That's the answer. I want to make it interesting. And you're panicking. It's a panic pawn because you know I'm more gifted. I don't have to think about this because I not only see mates in my head, I've had enough enemies scared of me to where they do the same dumb things. And either way, whether I play precisely, whether the enemy realizes I'm the superior talent, I will simply find a way to win. If I fail to find a way to win, which rarely happens, the chess gods will intervene to ensure I'm victorious. We're back up to 1817. Today, I'd like to get to 1900, which will put me within striking distance of my goal of 2000. For now, because we are getting back into serious deliberate practice. Dayton, you're chaotic. Look at your content. No, I worked in tech. I had a good manager. She tried to ruin my life. That's why I like the chess women, first of all, I'd like to say, because they're not bitter towards men. And from what I gather, not that the chess men seem bad, but when you put beautiful women in a male-dominated environment, and especially at a younger age, chess kids are probably not super social. They're going to flirt a lot. And the chess women are not bitter people. Corporate women often are. So I like the chess women a lot. Also, I wouldn't say never. I would be reserved to hit on the chess women out of respect for them and in hopes they'll teach me stuff. But I did have a good boss. So she taught me rules. Also, her and some people under her taught me when to make exceptions, such as editing in the live environment. It's a delicate thing. But I sleep pretty well, even though it appears chaotic, a lot of my content. I'll just remove it later if I don't want it. It's going to be out there. It's going to exist somewhere. I'll fix it later. Every month, I reorganize my folders. I know where everything is at all times. Nothing surprises me. It's why I was molded to prove we are not stuck with the brains we are given, and it is never too late to master a complicated skill so long as we have the desire and a just reason. For now, we watch Magnus Carlsen. Again, I'm pretty good at being able to dislike a human while still respect him or her, or at least what he or she does. In Magnus's case, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to be a poster boy. You get to meet Magnus Carlsen. Oh my gosh, Magnus Carlsen's trying to ruin an American's life, which is exactly what got me into chess, is they did that to me. A bunch of corporate pricks. Well, yeah, learn how to attack without taking excessive risk. I never should have had to be on social media. I never should have had my mom harassed to win. And I believe, before I get into this, I'd like to say, I believe it is possible to be the best in anything, which Magnus, I respect him more than corporate jerks because it's very objective what he does. A lot of butt kissing in the corporate world. But it's not necessary to be a prick. You got to be confident in anything. But usually success turns especially men into pricks, which is why I'd much rather work for a female boss and support women. Because they can become really good and not try to ruin Hans Niemann's life. Let's do this. I want to watch the video. No shortcuts.
Video series, it was suggested to me that I take a look at some of my games where I attack without sacrificing material, or at least
that's why I'm here,
not sacrificing more than pawns. And at first I thought it was a bit strange, since attacking without giving up major material, that sounded to me like that's just what everybody wants. That's the dream, and it has nothing to do with being a very good player. But I guess it's sort of a skill to actually get to the positions where you have control and you can attack without giving up material. The first example I'm going to give is actually a fairly standard one, except for one move. It's a rapid game that I played as black against Topalov in in Paris in 2016.
Is that the same as Paris? Paris?
So all pretty heavy D3 Spanish theory here. Not going to go through the details.
Theories are really, though. I mean, it's.
But yeah, in general,
nothing complicated's happened.
White is a little bit better, but it's not that big a deal. Knight h4, I think, was a fairly interesting plan. Sort of forcing g6, getting the knight to.
See, it's little things like that that adults can't get good and stuff. But it takes a lot more focus and deliberate thinking. Like, for example, you got to read into more than what's just being said, unless you have time to dedicate, like Carlsen and some of the really good players did as kids. Where I'm sure when he was young, like he says, G6 has to be played now, more or less. I'm sure before he was like 1,000 rated, which even Magnus Carlsen at one point didn't know how to play chess. That wasn't obvious. Like, to me, even now, and I'm a 2000-ish player online, G6, when I just hear G6, I understand based on his demeanor and stuff. He's saying that should be the play. But it's not so clear why. I guess the reason is you don't want to lose your dark. Black doesn't want to lose the dark square bishop, but my thought process, at least from what I've seen at my level, why not? You don't have your light square bishop to pair with it. It's going to weaken your king. White hasn't committed to how White's bishop or remaining bishop is going to enter the game. If G6, bishop H6, you have to use one move to move your F rook. And then White can do something like H3 to block the knight from eventually going to G4, being protected by the queen on C8 after the knight on D7 moves somewhere, which it wants to pretty soon. And then that bishop on H6 at my level, I've had some problems when that bishop sits there, though I guess at the top level, it's assumed that a bishop just sitting on H6 alone is not a threat, though it can cram a lot of things at my level. So, like, little things like that. You got to read into it. It makes sense to him, but he's also the best player in the world. So I don't know.
I'm probably intending to play C6 pretty soon while his rook is on A2, and then I should be fine. And after G3, the knight is coming to G2, E3 in case C6 comes. So I decided to change track a bit. And knight E8, knight G2, knight G7, starting to hint at F5, typical King's Indian, Old Indian, Czech Benoni, whatever you may call it.
I love that about chess too. Am I a nice person? I wouldn't say so. I'm a selfish person, which means you should be nice. It's starting to hint at it. Starting to hint at a move. And with all this tech and AI taking over, and I work deep in software for, well, I mean, my whole career, which I'm young. That's all I know. Stop calling me. I don't know who you are. But hint at a move. And in the world of business, at least corporate, executives, lawyers, is there a threat? We messed up. What is the person? No, that's a human life, especially during a time like COVID. We're talking about well-being and stuff. The answer is you fix it. Not, well, is there any hint that person's mad? Is there any hint that person's going to go crazy? No, you fix it because human beings are not chess pieces. Continue, Carlos.
Counterplay. I would say that I would love to have my pawn on B7 in these situations. B5 is a bit of a weakness that White can maybe exploit. So I definitely have to look for counterplay. Then he went bishop h6, which is quite normal. I went for knight f6, typical plan, sending knight g4, driving the bishop away. Here I think you should have done something like f3, if queen h3,
Ben Feingold says
then he goes away with the bishop, let's say, to e3, maybe further to d2, moves his rook back, and yeah, again, I wouldn't be too worried. Maybe move the knight again, knight d7, then f5, but white is certainly not doing poorly. And he actually admitted after the game that knight e3 was simply because he had missed queen h3. And his bishop is forced off the board, and now
rapid, I guess.
No, I'm doing well. b4, very logical starting play over here, and h5. You could still probably have had a good position here had you done something like rook to b1 here, preparing a4.
See, now that's something that, again, I always say this, and in any venture, like, you know, I used to play baseball. At least I had a lot of training. So I might say something that I just heard a million times, and someone who's a new baseball player would not understand. So I don't like when they do that. He just assumed I should know why rook b1 enables pawn a4.
After he played a4, I had a typical trick. There is clearly no way that I can absorb the pressure that he has on the queen side, so I have to counterattack. And with his pieces being as uncoordinated as they are, a5 works pretty well. Again, very typical counterattacking motive. You see it in pawn endings all the time, where the counter breakthrough can be, or in all the rook endings like rook.
Because Carlson is seeing white can't take on a5, b takes on a5, because then b4. But then knight b5, rook takes on a5. Knight takes on c7. I don't understand what he's saying.
For rook against knight, but the counter breakthrough can be very, very effective. And
when you're assuming I know what that means.
And here, at least the way he played rook b1,
at least while they're
AB,
beating at a high level.
ba4. I've managed to.
I don't get it.
To exchange of the queen sides, and yeah, the advantages of my position remain while he has no real counterplay anymore. It's not that his position is very bad. It's just that now it's gone from pleasant for him to pleasant for me. Play knight g4. Again, very typical. The trick. It should be noted that always wanna combine tactical tricks with positional play, and that's exactly what I do here. So clearly he doesn't want to take, since then I get hg4, and h2 is always going to be an issue, even though he has moves like queen f1. I go back, queen h6, and rook h8 is a big threat there. So
now there, I'm going to nitpick you because, like I just said, I don't have to like a person to respect their ability. But to someone who is not even as strong as me, which is a lot of people online, why not just say because it opens the file?
Now we'll go h4. He makes a logical move, f3, moving away the knight.
Allowing double pressure.
Here's the aforementioned tactical trick.
What he basically
hg.
Said. But it matters how you say it.
And hg, he has to play because fg, then gh, and queen c3 happens.
Yeah.
And I win material. So he has to take back, but now we get that theme again. I've opened the H file. I have no real weaknesses. Like, you can try to get it at c7, but in worst case, I can always protect that pawn with bishop d8, and I have an open file to work on. So now we get that situation, like attacking
And
with
this is something where I'm well past the stage.
with equal material, which
So you got to get comfortable.
again,
as
I
you just
think
explained.
every chess player, every good chess player at least,
completely safe.
loves.
Just because the queen isn't as terrible, does not mean you need to panic.
He went queen g2, quite logical. Queen h6, queen h2, queen g5, queen d2, queen h5. None of this is completely forced, but I'm trying again to avoid the queen exchange at any cost, since then he could calmly start attacking c7, and my advantage would be gone. And here he played g4, which I'd foreseen in advance. And once I realized the strength of my reply, I have to say I got really, really excited. So the point here is, again, he wants to exchange queens at any cost, even weakening his dark squares as much as playing g4. And so the only way I figured out that I can avoid the queen exchange is playing queen h8. The problem for him, though, is that the dark squares are decisively weakened at this point. Knight h7 is coming, then either bishop g5 or knight g5. Queen will eventually enter the h-file again, or go the other way, and the attack just plays itself. And I have to say that the rest of the game was just a pleasure. He went knight b5, knight h7. You can check it out for yourself, but knight c7 doesn't really work. I go knight g5, and the attack just breaks through. He doesn't have time for this. So after knight h7, he went queen h2, rook b8, now trying to bring the queen over to d8 or c8, then the knight to g5. And also the bishop is coming to g5, possibly. He went c4, protecting the knight. If he takes the pawn like this, I can, for instance, go rook to a1, pinning that knight. Rook b7, queen, maybe not to c8. Queen d8 is a possibility. Yeah, in general, it should be winning. There are also other options like going rook a7 first, maybe then knight b5, then rook a1. Anyway, he has absolutely no defense here. He decided to try and hold for a little bit with c4, but now I go queen d8. Once again, my position was just such a pleasure to play here. It just plays itself. Knight e3. Now I bring the bishop. Queen e2, bishop f4, knight g2, bishop g3. Once again, exploiting the illness that he has on the dark squares. It's not only one square; it's spreading everywhere. Queen e3, knight g5, tries to run with the king. Now queen h8 with little tactic, queen g5, and queen h1 takes the knight and infiltrating decisively. And he resigned because there's nothing he can do. He cannot allow a rook to invade on the queen side, so he can never take on c7 or a8. And then queen h1 is also coming with with decisive threats. So really, this game, I feel like it was about one move, and that was Queen H8. Once you realize that all of these optics of putting the queens in the corner, queen in the corner is might be wrong. Once you start to look a little bit deeper and realize that my pieces are going to hit the right squares, and even with all the time in the world, there's nothing he can do. Yeah, it was a beautiful feeling and pleasure to play.
Okay. Now I have to walk. Oh, I'm still sharing. Whoops. And walk while I ponder what Magnus just taught me. Before that, I'm working on just the piano piece of the song because it's pretty dirty. I want my granny to remain proud of her grandson. So I'm just going to play it flawlessly from memory, meaning, of course, with no sheet music, depending on the song key, without looking. Gosh darn it. Hey, Dad, what's up? For what? Okay. Because people think it's going to storm, or people think they won't be able to get to the pharmacy? When will it be undrivable, do you think? Oh, shoot. Well, okay, what time do you want me to be at the house? I'll be there. Love you. devastating. Root, whole, half step, E, F, whole. It's definitely an A, but stupid. No, don't do that. Don't do that. B sharp is C. I hate it when they do that. Four sharps, three double sharps. Yeah, I get it, but I think that's a terrible way to look at it. Notes in the A sharp major scale. Why would you give me the key signature instead of just the notes? I'm done. And I'm pissed because I was having a great afternoon. I haven't looked at this in so long because I drilled it to the point of exhaustion. Yeah, okay. Root, whole, half. Whole, half. So root note, whole, half. D sharp, E. There is no E sharp. So whole, then half. So A sharp the next octave. I'm correct. Gosh. My focused music practice. And something relaxed, like actually take the test to make sure I understand what Madness taught me. It's something rigorous for my chest. Now I'm doing something light for my music. Later I'll do my rigorous music practice, short and intense. Reflect. Song though. I'm serious, you wouldn't want to sing it to your girlfriend. He's got a fabulous vocal range. In here. Great. So we're back to 18. Whatever I'm at, 18, 17, I believe. Going to keep stepping forward. It's going to be great. Sounds like I might be snowed in, which means a lot of online chess with very little sleep. Love for you to join me if you see this rerun. Createchess.com account if you don't have one already. I don't do pleasantries. Just chat your chess.com user ID. You'll get a challenge immediately. Let's have some fun. Snow day. Woo!